Okay, here at the bench, I decided to try these Rapido uncouplers because when I looked at the diagram, which is there, you know, I'm an electronics guy, sort of, and it confused me a little bit. But anyway, got it working. It's not the way I normally expect to see wiring diagrams. It's just strange, but I got it figured out, I think. So you can see I got everything hooked up with some jumper wires. I wanted to test everything first. And basically now it's off. And you throw this little guy up. Ba-boom! And then that blue LED comes on. And that LED comes on. That's the LED they give you. Although I don't really like it. It's not going to fit very well in this. I don't know. Anyway, again, it's not what I would have used. And you don't have to use that LED. You could use a different LED, which I have other ones I may use. I don't know. Alright, so just some notes on this bad boy. There's a couple other videos on YouTube that I found. Scott Downey has one, and I think it's Muskoka Steve. I'm sorry, Steve, if I said that wrong. They're good. I recommend you check them out and watch them. They're good videos. So I'm not going to go through the installation. You drill a hole and you put it in the hole. Just a couple of things that I'll cover because I learned this as I was going through this. The orientation of this is a little hard to discern from the instructions. Here's a larger blow up of the Rapido instructions, and I think the version I have is different than in Scott and Steve's video. A couple of things I noticed: your connector is here on the actual back of the coupler, where on the ones that they were showing, it looks like there's a harness that clicks in here, and this is located farther away. You know, I don't know, 6 or 8 or 10 inches down on some wires. Not totally sure. So I don't know when that changed, but this is the version I have. And by the way, this is made by, I think it's like Qifeng Engineering in China. Because I didn't know how to hook this thing up. I mean, it's pretty simple, but you just stick the wires in. If you want to take them out, you can just move these levers and you can bring the wires back out. Anyway, so this is how it's oriented, like this. Because I didn't know, is it like this or is it like this? It certainly looks like, from the diagram, it should be like that. And that is the way it is, because that's why I have it hooked up and got it to work. Now on the version, like I said, the version I have, I'll use this little Rapido thing they give you. Here it does say Uncoupler Power Plus. So that makes this plus 12 volts. On the original ones and the one that Steve showed, for sure it doesn't show you that, which is bizarre. It's like, why would you not indicate where the positive and negative power is? Alright, anyway, so this is plus 12, minus 12, and from there you just pretty much follow along. This basically brings power into the uncoupler. These two are for the electromagnet. This switch is just a reverse wired double pole, double throw. All it does is change the polarity. That's all it does, is just change the way the poles are on the magnet, I guess. Then there's 2 LEDs. There's the one that's inside here, which gets its positive power from this run, and then its ground wire comes out. It says LED power out, so that's why that goes to negative 12 volts. This is a panel LED, which, why they show it like that, I have no idea. You can see I drew it the way an LED should be drawn. Anode, cathode, the way it should, that's the way they should draw it anyway. The resistor, it looks like it's a 5.1K resistor. It's a bright LED. It's a blue LED, which if you don't like blue, if you want a red or green or just white, whatever you want, yellow, amber, you can always change that. You might need to check the characteristics to see if that LED, if that resistor could change a little bit. Not a big deal. It's just, and again, I don't like the way it's going to mount in this. It's just a little LED. You have to put some hot glue or something on it. I don't like that. I'd rather have a panel mount LED, such as something like, I got one in this mess somewhere. Yeah, this is what I would rather use. That's a panel mount LED that's designed to go into a panel, not just a regular LED that's not. Anyway, now the one other thing I noted on this, the way this switch is wired, the way they show it like this, And you can see I put a T for top, being that this is the fascia plate. If you bring it up, that's the way it's mounted, switch and LED up. Maybe you can't see, I don't know how well it's going to show on video, but the writing is down here. So I call that the bottom, and this is the top. So if you hook it up this way, when you push the switch up, so if you have it in your thing and you push the switch up, it'll turn the uncoupler on. And then it goes back to the center, push it the other way, and it goes off again. So if you want it that way, that's fine. If you don't, if you'd rather, whatever reason you would want to, go down to engage the uncoupler, you'd have to either switch these wires or just turn the switch around. Either way, whatever's easier for you. But I kind of like the idea, okay, I'll go up for on and down for off. It just kind of makes sense. All right, so I have this thing in, and interestingly, another interesting thing, I thought it was going to be off, like totally off. No, that's not what it is. This is still a magnet. Okay, that's still magnetic. But what it is, and I didn't see the other videos mention this, and it really doesn't matter, but just for the fun of it. And again, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to show this, trying to shoot this one-handed. But, okay, here's a car. So right now it's off. So here's a car, so you bring it in, and it will pull that uncoupling pin down, but it won't, you can see, okay, it will not open the coupler. Okay, but look at this. If I come from this direction, boom, it will open the coupler. So that means that that's why they say orient it this way. So if you had it wrong, you'd just be the other way. You'd just be the other way. But when you turn it on, and it jumps a little bit, see, it definitely does rattle when it goes. So that LED goes on, that one goes on, and now when you bring the car over, if this shows up, you'll see, boom, it opens it up. And if you come this, oh, it just turned off. Let me turn it on again. Okay, there it's on. Now if I come this way, see, it won't open. You see, it won't open, but it will open, ba-boom, that way. So, just an interesting little tidbit. It must just be flipping the poles in there when it does that. And that goes, so like I say, for this, the way it's wired, I push the switch up, it goes on, the switch down, it goes off. So if that matters to you, just swap those two wires, and it'd be the opposite way. So, now that I got that figured out, I have to decide, do I want to use that LED, or do I want to use another LED? Again, it doesn't matter. If you want a blue one, you can use that. Again, I just don't like the way it's going to mount. It's not really a panel mount LED. It's going to stick through there. So you're going to do something to glue it in or something, which to me looks kind of hokey, but okay. All right, so again, this is probably worthless for a lot of people, but I just wanted to.
This is pretty much the worst video ever made.
I just wanted to kind of show that. So just FYI, this is a magnet. It depends on which way you run, because if you run that way on it, it's going to work, just like the uncoupler is going to work. Not this way. Until you turn it on, then it swaps. I guess the poles move. This is the 12 volts in the bottom. The way they show it on the diagram. Let me go back to the bigger diagram. So this is how they have that oriented, like this. This is 12 volts positive, 12 volts negative. This LED, I mean, that's kind of obvious. It's got the anode toward the positive, the cathode going down to the ground, negative 12. Putting the switch in the way they show it here will turn the coupler on when you go up. Up, this is up, like that. If the letters are legible this way, the way it's wired like that, up will turn it on, down will turn it off. If you want, you just swap the wires or turn the switch around if you want that differently. So now they got that all figured out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring these wires. I cut some wires. See, I got a bunch of them laying around here out of a 6-conductor 24 gauge cable, multi-conductor cable. I'm going to use those I'm actually going to take these, they're the ones I'm going to use here, to a terminal board. Sorry, going too fast. Slow down. Don't make people dizzy. So I'm going to bring these to a terminal board under the layout, and then from there, with that multi-conductor cable, run over to either the control panel, the fascia, wherever I decide to do it. I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to have them in the control panel or on the fascia yet. I'm still thinking about that. But, that way I can do the wiring inside either on the back of the fascia, because all three of them will be relatively, or four of them actually, will be relatively close together. So you can always daisy chain the 12 volts, and you make things a little bit simpler when you hook it up. If I go into a cabinet and just hang the switch and the LED in a cabinet somewhere, or you could always put this on the outside of the cabinet too, and use that. I might want to enlarge that hole and maybe use a little more professional looking, panel mount LED, but that's just personal choice. Okay, so that's that. That's the way I'm going to go ahead and approach this. Just FYI, I just want to show a little bit about this in case people get these instructions and scratch their head like I do, or like I did. Now that I understand it and know how things will work, and it's really not that bad, but I think Rapido could have done a little bit better job with the instructions, and especially just the normal, you show plus and minus, you show an LED the way an LED looks, maybe advise what your resistor value is, or you can look at it and read the color codes or measure it like I did. Just, maybe indicate that as wired like this, go up, I'll turn it on or off. And I've never seen it mentioned anywhere, and maybe it's just well known and I'm just an idiot, but that this is actually a magnet, and it's still magnetic, because you will still feel it pull that pin down, but it won't move it. But if you come in this way, perpendicular 90 degrees, it certainly will move it. Turn it on, the opposite happens. So anyway, I thought that was interesting, because I was expecting this. Like, why is this thing a magnet? Why is it doing this? What the hell? Why is it doing that? Well, it's because it's a magnet, and it's still a magnet. It's not off. I mean, I can turn the power off. It doesn't matter. It's still magnet. So anyway, all right. Enough babbling about that, and then let's get this get these installed and see how they work on the layout. All right, again, just to show, here's that panel mount LED, and you can see it's not quite as bright as the blue boy that was with the set. And you just turn it off, and it's going to go off. Just for fun, I'll just show you a couple other ones real quick. Again, here's a red LED panel mount available from, is that red? I don't know. When I look at the videos on the back of my camera, it looks like it's freaking yellow, but it's red. That's one from All Electronics. They make these in different colors too, and these are good panel mounts. I use these for the staging control panels and stuff. They make these red, green. I think they even make a blue one. I don't have any blue ones because I never had a need for a blue. But again, that's another option if you wanted some, again, it's going to mount, and to me look a little bit more professional. Now here's a Radio Shack one that's got the resistor already in it, so you don't need the resistor. This is a panel mount. Again, that's a green color, but again, these are more designed to actually mount on a panel. They make these. I have these in red and green, and they may make other. I had these for years. But you can also get 12 volt LEDs. A lot of the indicator panel mount stuff already have a resistor in them set for 12 volts. So for example, if you want to do something like that, you could do that as well. They also have these in red as well. So it's a couple different options. Again, you can use different color LEDs. You could use a panel mount, such as this one or such as the other one I showed you. So different choices. Or you can even use them and not have to worry about that resistor, and just use one that has a resistor already part of the indicator lamp assembly itself. So some different things to think about. Now again, they might not all mount very well on this. Either you drill that out, or if you don't use that at all and you mount it on the control panel, which is probably the ideal way to go, then you don't have to worry about this at all. You just drill your own holes and use any LED or indicator light that you want. So okay, enough babbling. Let's get this thing mounted on the layout. Alright, now to mount these wires, again, a lot of folks will figure this out, but I'll just show it for completeness. Again, I'm using 24 gauge solid. I'm only going to use a short run to a terminal block. They don't give you, I don't know what size this will take. 22 to 26 maybe? I don't know. I tried to find the cut sheet for this. I couldn't. At least when I was trying to get to the website for the K-Fang engineering site, it didn't work. So you just basically take, I'm going to try to do this one-handed, so I don't know how well this maneuver is going to work. And I'm using the same color code for all these, so I got my brown wire in. So next is my white wire. And again, I don't know if I can do this one-handed. And again, they don't tell you how far to strip it, so I just kind of went, you know, roughly, what is it, about a ½ inch or so, roughly a ½ inch. And then you just bring it in and push it down. And you'll feel it go in and set. And you'll notice that that little orange guy comes down a little bit, and then it's in. And I don't know if you can see that. I'm not even sure it's going to focus. You can see how they're down compared to the other three that don't have wires installed yet. So not a big deal. And again, if you wanted to get it out, you could. You could just depress that and pull the wire back out. I assume that's what it's supposed to do, I believe. So that's how you mount them. Again, I don't know the wire range it'll accept. Another thing that would be nice, that Rapido would tell you that kind of stuff. I guess I'm just being too picky, but these are the things that are helpful to know. So, but again, I'm using 24 gauge solid, so that's what I'm doing there. So here we are on the layout, yay! So what I'm going to do, I was thinking, how am I going to mount these? Because they recommend using toothpicks to wedge them in there and stuff. I'm like, wait a minute. Silly, these things are magnets. So just get something metal. And so I'm using my Fast Tracks jigs here. And you can see, you can use that to hold it. And then set that bad boy in there. Dun, dun, dun. Get it in, and I can align it. Of course, you got to move it a little bit. But what I'll do is, you know, I'll get it set in there. There we go. Line that up with the track here. Get a little silicone, get it around there, and get it in. Same as that one back there. So now anything will work. I initially had one of these bad boys, but that's huge. But it's metal, so it works. So find something flat and metal, and you can use that. Line things up, get them glued in. That's what they recommend on the current instructions I have. They say to use some white glue, silicone caulk, or blue tack, which I'm not familiar with. I don't know. Anyway, but all right. So I'll try that and see if I can get these siliconed in. Okay, we'll see. There's one. I got that one sitting in there. Let it sit with a little bit. Hopefully that silicone will hold it in there. It is nice and flush. So basically what I'm doing is just using this little tool as a holder. You see I got some silicone around it there. That holds it nice. I wonder if Fast Tracks ever figured that their stuff would be used to mount Rapido uncouplers. Well, they're all Canadian, so I guess it's all good. And then I just kind of took this. This might be hard for me to do one-handed. And then just kind of scooch it in there. That's set there. Smooth out the silicone. A little bit on top. I don't know that it matters or not. It's on my fingers, so I'll just wipe it off of my shirt like I always do. I ruin like so many shirts. Alright, then I'm going to just take this. Make sure the back side looks okay. Ah, it's got the... Slide that through a little bit. Well, that's good. And just smooth out that silicone. Nice and flush. Okay, let that set up till it goes clear, and then when I'm done, just whoop, slide them off, and they should be in there, hopefully. Good to go. And on the bottom side, I may put something across the holes just in case they get loose, they don't fall to the floor and break or something like that, but we'll see. So now let's see what we can do here on the underside. Alright, just for fun, I'll just show you how I'm going to handle wiring these uncouplers. What I decided to do, underneath the layout, I brought the 5 wires down to a terminal board and terminated them there. So from there, I'm going to come back to the control cabinet, and I'm going to control the uncouplers from there. So I'm going to use, I have these kind of set up by pairs, sort of, just because of the way the tracks are laid out. So I'm going to use a 10 conductor cable to bring back 2 of them each, 2 of them per cable. So I'm going to bring back, the way it's laid out, we have green, yellow, gray, white, brown off of the uncoupler. So for the 10 conductor cable, the colors don't match perfectly, but so for the first uncoupler, I'm going to bring it back with a green, orange, black, white, red. And the second uncoupler, green with black, orange with black, blue, white with black, red with black. Okay, it's close enough. I'm going to bring them back to the control cabinet, which is going to be and there'll be basically the switches and the LED will be in here where you can see it. I just prefer it that way. I don't like things all over the fascia. Personal choice, I guess. And I'm going to use a 12-volt indicator. Let's go back over here. So I'm not going to use this resistor. I'm not going to need it, because what I'm going to do, I'm not going to show, okay. Basically, I'm going to use a 12-volt indicator, which has a resistor in it. So I'm just going to wire right to it. To me, that's a lot easier. Plus, I don't like the LED that you get with it. It's just an LED. And I want it to look a little bit better when it's mounted in the panel. So we're going to do that. And then to run the cable back, you have a couple choices. You can be, it kind of depends how much of a fancy pants you want to be. Basically what I'm going to do, just for fun, you could set this up. Here's the cable, and it's been stripped. This is the second set of wires for this uncoupler, and this one here. This is how far apart they are underneath. Because obviously, if you let them all this length, you need these a little bit shorter as you go across. So what I'm going to try, just for the fun of it, I have it measured how far they are from this screw to this screw in the terminal board. I know to know how to lay out this second set. The pitch is 3/8 of an inch. So I'm going to try it. Green's the longest one. I'm going to cut each one back 3/8, strip them, crimp them here. I'm going to use Panduit terminals. Do the same thing over here, and then see how it works underneath. Just for the heck of it. Now, so you could just leave them all the same length, like this max length, and then these will just droop a little bit more. That sure is a lot easier. Same thing here, just cut them all to this length, and then these all will just droop because these will be a little bit longer here. It depends what you want to do. But I'm going to be Mr. Fancy Pants today and try this and see if I get it right and how it looks underneath the layout. Okay, got them cut. First terminal board, second terminal board. Each one's 3/8 shorter. Let's see how it looks underneath. Oh man, isn't this fun? Alrighty, there it is. Again, just for fun. It looks okay. Not saying it's perfect, but it seemed to line up pretty nicely. So, there we go. That's the uncoupler 1 and 4. That's just the way the tracks are lined up. And they're brought back through the cable, and that cable's going to run over there, and then across. You can see it way over there. And now what I'll do, see the little flashlight action going on there? Da, 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 da. So that's the next one. So I can't hold the flashlight. So I'm going to bring those, again, 10 conductor cable, I'll bring it back. I'm going to run it over here alongside that one into the cabinet. So I'm not going to show, I'll just figure out something for that one. That's a little different. See, the cable's going to come in this way and split, so it's not quite the same. But okay, there we go. Enough fun. We'll just try to get this stuff wired up and see how far we can get. Alright, so to wrap up the video here on the uncouplers, and for those of you who might watch the other update, I'm not sure if I'm even going to post this video on the Rapido uncouplers because it's kind of being worked in parallel with a lot of the control panel work that I'm doing, which I am going to post. Anyway, if I put it up, I do. There'll be some cross-pollination between the two videos. But so what I did not use, as you can see, I did not use the Rapido little faceplates or their LEDs. I went with 12-volt indicator, blue. Blue's a cool color, I like it, so I bought some blue ones. This is the Rapido switch, and it's wired in here, and when you do that, it throws or activates, engages the uncoupler, and then unengages it. So the 4 of these are here, and I am planning to get labels so you know they're uncouplers, although it's kind of obvious what they, well, I will label them. And they all seem to be functioning properly. And it says that the blue LED comes on here, and then I don't know if I slowly come up top here. Oop, maybe I'm going to make it purposely a little bit darker. You can see that uncoupler there. I don't know if it's showing up. I can't see. I'm holding the camera over it, but that's got the blue LED on it, which if I unengage it, okay, that's throwing a turnout. It goes off. So that is that. You heard the tortoise work, so the tortoise is all working, but that's a different video. So they're done. And again, verify that one more. There we go. I like the blue. That's a cool color. Now on the inside of the cabinet, just to show that, again, if you've seen the other video, you know that this is a mess. But then again, I brought with the two number 210 conductors, all those wires come in here to these terminal boards, and they're labeled which one's which, and then they go down to the switches and the LEDs down here in this menagerie of wires. So not a whole lot to show there, but that's my implementation. I don't like the, I did not like the Rapido LED, or I shouldn't say that, the LED that was provided. This, to me, this is the way I like to do things on a panel, so I think it looks a lot nicer. And I wanted to keep things together on one panel as opposed to having like 4 separate uncouplers on the fascia. Again, a personal choice. It's just whatever you prefer. All right, so that's that. That's the my take on the Rapido switch tender, switch, whatever they are. Now, hopefully they work. I guess I ought to test them now that they're in and see if they actually do uncouple stuff. They sure seem like it. They're pretty powerful, so I think they're going to work pretty good. Okay, enough said. Enough blabbing. Let's get this one posted as well, or maybe not. Who knows if this goes up. If people are interested, great. But that's how I went ahead and installed my 4 Rapido remote uncouplers.